Hey, we're live now, huh?
Hey, we're live. It would
Sweet.
help if I push the button. Yeah,
Live, live, whatever. It's all the
it's going to
same.
be this kind of a show, folks, because I got to be honest with you. After what happened on Monday Night Football last night, just not into it tonight. Anyway, I'm Chris Harris. I'm here with John Keating, Mike Moynihan. It's Tuesday night, January 3rd, 2023. First hobby hotline of the year, and yeah, let's start with what happened last night on Monday Night Football. Damar Hamlin. It's like I'm glad that they stopped the game when they did, and there's no way you could possibly continue that game.
Yeah, it's we watch football and I every Sunday I sit down and watch football, and every play I watch I can't believe that people survive just the routine plays. It's a brutal sport. And they're used to twisting arms and legs and limbs and all that stuff. But it really gives a lot of perspective to how fragile it all is. You know, you can have all the pads in the world on, but it won't protect you from what happened last night.
And it didn't look like that severe of a blow that he took.
It's timing, man, right?
It was just timing. Yeah. It kind of reminded me of, when Dale Earnhardt Sr. died. It didn't seem like that bad of a crash at first.
Right.
Until we found out later.
Yeah, we've been through this before. We mentioned, you and I spoke about Hank Gathers, who was an absolute legend, and we'll never know what Hank Gathers would have done in the NBA. He was an amazing college player. Reggie Lewis with the Boston Celtics, same thing. And then more recently, Christian Eriksen with Denmark did it in the middle of the biggest match in Europe.
Yeah.
I was watching that live when it happened.
Yeah, it's crazy. These are people that, football is a stop and start sport, but basketball, Reggie Lewis and Hank Gathers and soccer players, they run 10 kilometers, 11 kilometers a game, and they're supposed to be the most fit athletes there are. And just goes to show, man, I spent most of my life thinking how amazing the human body is. It's the most incredible machine ever developed, either naturally or by man, and it's phenomenal how many things it takes to make it work, right? And we take it for granted that it's going to work perfectly with every breath we take.
Yeah, I'm curious about no doubt they shouldn't have played the game last night and all that, and I get it, but I hear guys all the time, like there are guys in the hobby that they'll have something personal happen in their life, death of a loved one, something, and they take a break for a little while, and they take the time off to do whatever they need to take care of, and then they come back to the hobby. And I think, it'll be the same, there'll be a lull for a few days, and then everybody's like, okay, who's going to be jockeying for the number 6 seed in the AFC,
Right.
And we quickly move on, as I think we should. I mean, life's meant, like, crappy stuff happens all the time. The sports world does not need to stop for this. Like, it needs to take a breath,
right,
and savor and go like, okay, this isn't great. There's literally nothing you can do there. It wasn't like a rule change would have kept, there's nothing that goes, wow. It makes us all go, man, life's fragile and it can be taken away in an instant. But there are so many circumstances in life that make us think that. You could have thought that when Don West died, like, man, I'll never get to buy a card on QVC anymore.
It can go either way, right? Like these guys, it can be either therapeutic to get back out on the field just to do a walkthrough, or it could be an anchor hanging around their necks, right? We don't know.
It was funny. I was watching one of those chat shows that air in the middle of the afternoon on ESPN, and they were debating whether or not the NFL should even play this weekend and maybe push everything 1 week back. What do you think? I think that's a little extreme, considering that we don't know if he's going to survive. Oh, what money?
That's the only thing that matters. These guys will act. These guys, meaning the suits, will act like it matters, and they're being genuine. But that's what's going to dictate what happens when, right?
And I don't think anybody's advocating for not having sympathy for the situation, and you know, there's a lot of real life things that need to be taken care of, but for 99.999% of the rest of the world, they're going, dude, they better play football this weekend.
Right.
You know, it's a freak accident. It's tragic. Nobody wants to see that happen. And yet we're all going, okay, what are the lines and what's the over-unders and what's all this?
See, they've proven, the NFL and NBA and baseball have proven, and they did it in Europe too, they can play behind closed doors with, you know, they can survive. You know, the TV revenue is so massive that they can survive. What about the gambling aspect? What are the ramifications of last night's game with FanDuel and whatever the other ones are?
I would assume that those bets are still out until they declare. The NFL hasn't declared this a result for this yet.
Right.
So,
and what
I would assume that this game gets abandoned. And it's, I don't know.
Right. What's at stake with the
declared a
game
draw.
itself? Is I assume it's a home field advantage thing, or
That's
is it
because they're both in the playoffs?
right? So
And
what
they're
does
really
a tie
playing
do?
for seeding,
What
so.
does a tie do? I wonder in this whole thing. I'm sure some math geniuses looked at that.
Well, if they cancel the game and we know they're going to do it, I want to go bet the under right now.
Oh, pretty smart of you, man.
Right.
So it's you know, we saw some backlash with hobby stuff regarding the incident, and there's opportunists in this hobby. There's always going to be opportunists, same people that slab fake cards or fake slab good cards, whatever.
You know, I think you need to kind of delineate those that had DeMar Hamlin items up before last night and those that put them up at like 9 o'clock last night,
right,
and after. So
it's all money driven. The players have always been pawns, right? And in most of our lifetime, at least my lifetime, well, all of our lifetime, I guess, the players didn't achieve free agency until in our lifetime. And it's the same thing. They're still pawns. You know, they have more power and more money than they did, but it's still a owner and corporate sponsor driven entity. Any of the sports are, unless you're Manchester City or Newcastle.
Yeah. Or PSG. Or this outfit in Saudi Arabia that signed
Ronaldo. And that's going to send him to Newcastle.
To Newcastle, of course. Comment, not playing won't change anything. In my opinion, it took them so long to cancel because they were hoping they would get the news he'd wake up. Actually, I heard, again, this afternoon on ESPN is that the reason why they waited so long to postpone the game is that they wanted to make sure that the ambulance had left and had a clear shot to the hospital before, dismissing a stadium full of 65,000 people. They were actually waiting. I think this is known, but Hamlin's parents actually drove down from Pittsburgh to see the game, and they were waiting on his mother to come from the stands to be with her son in the ambulance before it took off. And after it took off, that's when they announced that they were postponing the game because they didn't want all those people leaving the stadium before the ambulance left. So
that actually makes sense.
Yeah, it makes sense now. It didn't make sense at the time.
So, I apologize for stepping on Logan, but one thing we need to highlight is the skill and aptitude of the training staffs these days, right? The NFL, I think, has always led the way because of paralysis issues and stuff like that. But it's amazing how quickly it used to be put some Gatorade on it, right? That was the extent of it of a trainer, and he would be the guy who signed the fake autographs in the locker room. But now these guys are literally saving lives. It's a highly skilled endeavor, and kudos to them for all of them. They don't care what team you play for. They were all out there in a heartbeat, or that's a bad pun, but they were all out there in an instant ready to help this man.
Yeah, I was kind of reminded of another Buffalo athlete in a kind of similar situation. I don't know if you remember Clint Malarchuk. He was a goaltender for the Sabres.
Remember the name. Is it the skate?
I think it was during a game he was collided into by another player, and that player's skate slashed his jugular, and he was bleeding out onto the ice. And if not for the actions of the Buffalo Sabres trainer that night, he would have bled to death on the ice.
Right.
And he saved his life. So kudos to the training staffs of major league teams the world over.
My kids played in leagues where the coach said blood makes the grass grow, which is the most asinine thing you can say, right, to a 8-year-old lacrosse player. And thankfully we've evolved, or at least at that level they've evolved.
Is lacrosse actually a sport? I mean,
dude, it's boys with sticks whacking each other. It's the greatest sport you can.
It is.
Yeah, they can sit there during drills. They can whack each other in the head with their sticks. They can't do that in baseball. It's a wonderful, wonderful endeavor.
Yeah, I think hockey and football mixed together.
It's more of a sport than wrestling will ever be.
Mr. Apex brought up a good point. This was the championship in most fantasy leagues. I had buddies today going, man, we don't know, because they had either Stephon Diggs or Burrow or Josh Allen and
or a kicker or whatever, right?
Right.
I had the Buffalo defense in my
there you go.
fantasy league, but I already won the Super Bowl in my fantasy league. So,
this is why I advocate
not to brag or anything.
Yeah, getting knocked out early in the playoffs like me. It makes for a better holiday season. Truth be told,
you don't have to be changing your lineups on Christmas Day.
Yeah, or my underwear. Yeah.
Getting back to what Logan said, NASCAR didn't take a break when Dale Earnhardt died.
Right.
No, they didn't, but they did take a break after 9/11, as did every other sport.
How long was baseball and football? Football was off 1 week.
A week. Yeah, they took a week, and they like I mentioned that talking head on ESPN today said that we should move everything back a week, like they did on 9/11.
It's been done, right? Yeah.
Yeah, I think, and there is that bye week between the championship.
Can we really relate one guy having a heart attack to 9/11? Are those really equal?
Yeah, I don't buy that. I mean,
I'm not trying to be insensitive. I just don't get it.
I don't know whether that is out of respect for the gentleman or out of the fact that they need to play this game. I don't know whether that move it back 1 week means they next, 2 weeks from now, Buffalo and Cincinnati have a rematch, or a continuation. I don't know why that 1 week would need to be added. Which of those two reasons?
Yeah,
got to play. I mean, if you got to play a game, you got to play a game, and there's a lot of tentacles involved here.
Can we talk about something that's less of a downer?
Sure.
I guess if we talk about anything in the hobby right now.
Yeah. So this is the first hobby hotline of 2023. So I figure, what do we want to see out of the hobby this year that's different? Or what don't we want to see in 2023? Let's
Out of the
think about
hobby,
it.
I want to see the TCU Horned Frogs win a national championship in 2023. That's the first thing I want to see. 6 days.
Well, that's not going to happen because you're playing Georgia, but sorry.
I want to see purple uniforms versus red uniforms. That's not going to happen either, right? It'll be red versus white, I believe.
White with, yeah.
And what are those little necklaces they wear around their uniforms there, or whatever that little design is? Is that a horned frog, Mike, around the collars?
No, it's just a
decoration.
Decorative pattern.
So, is this? Are we in agreement that this is the year that we believe Fanatics is going to take full control of Tops? Is this? I mean, we're talking distribution here. I mean, is this going to roll out in the next few months leading up to the 2023 season? How will it change how we get cards?
I believe so. I mean, it was almost 1 year ago today, 1 year ago tomorrow, it was announced that Fanatics was going to buy Tops. So I figure, I think it's pretty much known that the product development life cycle at Tops takes almost a year for them to develop a product.
That's product, though. I think what I'm asking is how cards get delivered to the different ways we all collect, right? Which takes less turnaround for a company that already has the infrastructure that Fanatics has. Takes a less time to implement. Do you think that we're going to see a big change in that, or the distributor's going to be going back to distributing whistles and candy cigarettes, or what's going to happen here?
I miss candy cigarettes.
I do. I love them.
Me too.
I had a 3-pack a day habit.
Blow through them and smoked.
So I mean, that's my question, because to me, I waffle back and forth to wanting cards on every counter everywhere, whether it's an Ace Hardware or Domino's Pizza, to not wanting cards in places like Target and Walmart, because I think that horse has run its race, and I'm a little sick of that model of, to me, I see these pictures of these stocked Walmarts, and I know, Chris, you've seen them yourself, but to me, they're all Photoshopped, because I go to Walmarts throughout the country and Targets, and maybe it's me, but not that I'm looking for product or it makes or breaks my day, but I just don't see that. I mean, if it's stocked one day a week, what good is that doing the hobby?
Well, you should come down here to Delaware, because the Walmarts are pretty stuffed with product. But
yeah, is that because it doesn't sell quicker than it does where I am, or are they just not stocking where I am?
Are pretty bad. Let's be honest.
Chronicles and OPG hockey.
Chronicles, draft pick basketball, wild card. It's like Topps Chrome baseball.
So there's that aspect of it. How are we gonna? I believe that a hobby box should be in an LCS a month before it's offered anywhere else. Okay, and then you can turn it loose anywhere you want to turn it loose, whether it's your own Fanatics website or whatever. But I mean, the spirit of a hobby box is to buy it at a hobby store. And I think that they should have a moratorium on those products, and it might make things, it'll help the LCSs for sure, right? And it might cool things down a little bit about how, we're gripping and ripping.
But think about that. If you're Fanatics, and now I'm getting into a little hobby think tank mode, shameless plug for a new show that's coming out. But if you think about it from the Fanatics perspective, they put it out in an LCS, and hobby hobby.
Just the hobby boxes.
Right. But the product's still out there. And believe me, there is so much just initial hype with any product that if it's in LCSs only, by the time it gets a month later, there's something else coming out, or the product's already been exposed as a complete dud and worthless piece of crap. And then they can't sell it on the retail side versus just letting it, simultaneously land everywhere.
Right.
I don't see how that gives them any value to that product. Just terrible.
The thing is that, you know, the hobby retail distribution, I don't know what word we've had separate hobby retail.
Shitstorm.
Yeah. For decades, where you have the same product, but the hobby version has a separate exclusive insert, and the retail version has its own insert. And do we go back to that? Do we continue to have hobby exclusive products and retail exclusive products? Because
It's
the
confusing.
retail exclusive products, those are the ones that are collecting dust at Walmart. I don't think there's anybody that's genuinely excited over products like Bowman Platinum or Gallery or Chronicles draft picks.
How many 2022 sets are left to be released? Any idea?
I think there's at least another half dozen.
Awesome.
I know Finest still hasn't come out yet. Finest. It's freaking January.
When's our first 2020? When's our first 2023 pop?
We don't know that. And this is another thing that with Fanatics is that we don't know what they're going to do this year, because they haven't. Topps has not released anything regarding 2023, except a couple of months ago they released a prototype of that mock-up of the Adley Rutschman 2023 Topps design. We don't know when this product's getting released. We don't know the structure of the product. We don't know what the inserts and the themes are. And that's just series one. We don't know anything about Heritage, although we know it's what it's going to probably look like. It's 74 Topps. We don't know anything else about any of the other Topps 2023 Topps brands. And that's where I'm thinking that maybe Fanatics is trying to do something different. And we haven't seen, and they're holding back something from us that, I don't know, in the upcoming weeks, we'll have something from them.
But what would be is their motivation to do that?
Just to give these products an overhaul, really. Try something different.
But are they trying to spring it on us? There used to be sell sheets, months in advance, and you could get an idea.
We would have the sell sheets for at least 4 or 5 2023 products by now.
Right.
Series 1, Heritage, probably Bowman, probably a couple of other products by now. But again, we've heard nothing from Topps regarding 2023.
Maybe they just don't know what the hell they're doing.
Well, they haven't. The current Topps hasn't known what the hell they've been doing for the last.
Are you saying Topps 52 was a bad idea? Topps 1952 was a bad idea?
Yeah.
Are you saying that's the behavior of
released 2001 Heritage? It was. Yeah.
That's the behavior of somebody that doesn't know what they're doing.
Yeah, pretty much.
So traditionally, what's the first release? Please don't tell me it's opening day.
Series 1. And that usually comes out late.
It used to come out before Thanksgiving.
Well,
yeah, but we're still updating sets we released in December, right? Didn't we just have an update come out in December for a set that was released in September? So
do y'all think it's Series 1 is released before? If you had to bet, would you take before spring training or before opening day, or like Major League Baseball?
I would assume that it has to come out before opening day, at least in March.
Yeah.
Was there any impact on the lockout last year? I know we had COVID in 2020. We had a lockout in 2022. Or is this the year we get on schedule somehow? Did the lockout affect the releases last year?
I wouldn't think so.
No.
Okay. So we have too much product to fit into an 8-month window of baseball. Right? If we're still releasing sets in 2023 for 2022, we have too much product.
Yeah, there is too much product on the market.
And obviously I'm not saying print runs. I'm talking about products. There's too many SKUs.
And print runs.
Right.
I mean, the print run for
Well, we lived through that before.
It was ridiculous.
Yeah, we lived through that. Oddly enough, in 1980, there was a lot of double prints. The 90s, we've all lived through it. Facebook Marketplace is going to be awesome 20 years from now. But there's I don't care that there's too much product, but there is too much product because obviously everybody has their particulars that they like to collect. Does anybody collect all of it? That's the question.
No,
of course not. I can't
imagine. A lot of it's not even worth collecting either. So,
right.
Well, so I'll buy a top set this year, like I've done every year since the dawn of time. And then I always get a heritage set because I like the heritage sets. That's what I collect. That's what I collect out of that. Now, will I open a few boxes just for giggles? Probably. But there's no products I'm like super looking forward to or excited about or whatever. Shoot, what they released 5-star like 3 weeks ago.
Was it that? I thought it was less than that.
Ago.
Yeah,
2 weeks ago maybe. But you get all the chromes and all the different sapphires and all that stuff. It's Eric says I should burn some. Yeah, I've already done that, Eric.
We shamed you in it once. Yeah. Hey, so what's Panini? What's their? Panini is the most disgusting thing to me about the hobby. I just don't. I'm not attracted to their cards at all, or the sports that they represent. What's their bread and butter? Is it baseball? Is it basketball? Is it football? What?
Prism basketball.
Basketball and yeah.
And how's the health of that product right now? Is it going strong? They've had a couple bad years rookie wise, right?
Right.
I can't say that I know.
And and football's had a couple. Well, this year wasn't the greatest year for football rookies, right?
No.
It's a shame that that's all we're talking about is rookies driving a product. So looking forward to 2023, I'd like to see less of that. I'd like to see more respect for wide receivers or running backs, although running backs don't matter in the NFL anymore.
But isn't that a hobby problem, not a card manufacturer problem? Meaning the hobby doesn't like pitchers and doesn't like wide receivers and
right.
But does that mean that, to me, that's silly? If you like a team and you like a pitcher or a wide receiver, why wouldn't you just collect their cards or if they're from your alma mater or whatever? To me, it's all about the money part of it. Quarterbacks sell for more.
Well, they don't. Every card in that box is equal, right? I mean, the parallels cost a little bit more to make, but for every card that's in the base set, it costs the same amount of money to make. So I don't know. That RC logo is killing the hobby because there's 2,000 of them for a player every year. It's just ridiculous.
Make the hobby great again.
I am right now. I had to pull some old cards, put them in my hand to calm me down a little bit here.
Yes, let's make the hobby a hobby again. I have a feeling that 2023 is going to be a lot like what it was 30 years ago. Beginning of the end of the second junk wax era. So.
Yeah, but what's funny is you could buy cards anywhere you wanted 30 years ago. You can't do that right now, right? No internet 30 years ago, or it's a different thing. I mean, I don't know where all these base cards are going. They're going somewhere. They're going right in the incinerator,
Shredder,
shredder.
which is unfortunate.
Yeah.
Um,
They should make everything just a redemption card. If you don't want it, but they won't. If you want the base cards, they'll print them up for you and send them to you. If you don't want them, not even going to bother printing them up.
Comment: Bowman Platinum is a good example of a retail product that got no hobby love because of the perceived low-end retail. Good stuff, in my opinion. The thing with Bowman Platinum is that why do we need it? We already have Bowman Chrome, Bowman Draft, Bowman's Best, which I don't know if that's coming out this year, but how many Bowman brands do we need?
He really killed a classy name, huh? Classy brand.
Yeah, Platinum. Aren't we still waiting for 2021 Bowman Heritage still? Yeah. I'm not.
I'm not either, Gary.
Nobody is really. Hey, Chris, go down to Cooter Lev's comment and then Brendan Ryan's comment.
If everything is rare, then nothing is.
Good point, Tom.
Especially when you have like multiple different parallels that are all numbered to the same thing. Like in the new Bowman Draft, there's like a gold refractor numbered to 50 and a gold wave refractor numbered to 50. Why? All you're doing is just diluting the value of your product.
How the Breakers doing right now?
More mojo, right?
How the Breakers doing right now? Are they thriving? Because I haven't heard. Maybe it's because there haven't been that many scandals lately. I don't know if what's going on over there in Breakerville.
I think Fanatics does away with the retail exclusives. They started with
Topps Chrome.
I don't think that means Texas Christian University.
That's what I read. Boy,
I read
it means Topps Chrome Update this year. So, yeah, was Chrome Update really a product that needed to come out in hobby? I mean, it's been a retail only product really ever since it started, but
Eric, I do appreciate the nod to the Horned Frogs. I appreciate that.
Yeah.
Try to be a little less subtle next time, man.
Jeez. Something that's a little off topic. Anybody pull a blank back out of an 87 Topps rack pack? Pulled a lot of miscut cards, that's for sure.
I don't know, but I have an 87 Topps rack pack like right over here. We could open it and see if I have any.
Ooh, get me that Ruben Sierra, man. That was the guy back
Ruben
then.
Sierra, Barry Bonds.
I remember the 87 vividly for the Ruben Sierra, the real-time Ruben Sierra chase. Was that, I know that's his, whatever, there's an argument about McGuire's rookie card, but was the 87 his first actual year?
Yes.
And that's when he set the rookie home run record, right?
Correct.
So, but leading into that season, Ruben Sierra was the guy, and I'm not making that up. That I swear that happened.
Yeah, wasn't he like second in the MVP balloting one year?
Should have won the MVP in 1989. Robin Yount stole it from him.
Yes.
And I don't even want to talk about that. It's a dark day in my life.
You should talk about why the Rangers had so much talent and couldn't do anything for many, many years. But maybe that's another hobby think tank. It's just like the 1960s San Francisco Giants, who had 5 Hall of Famers and
couldn't win. Yeah.
Comment from Zach: all these sets are for group breakers. There's so many sets out there. The average collector aren't excited about it ripping and collecting themselves. Well, yeah. Who do you think Topps makes these products for nowadays? They're not meant to be collected. They're meant to be broken.
Yeah, I mean, I maybe I'm misreading what Zach says, but I kind of get that. With so many sets, you might as well just get the players you want instead of accumulating a set, right? You might as well get a set of 2022 Whammy Douglases. Okay, and if you think I'm making that up, here's a Whammy Douglas card right here.
Whammy.
So why not? We've turned into player collectors because there's dozens of sets, right? So not we meaning those people.
Them.
So it doesn't make sense to put a set of Whammy Douglases together instead of a set of 2022 flagship or whatever. I understand that, and maybe that's what Zach was saying, and I get that. Get your player of the gajillion sets that are released and the parallels and all that stuff.
But if you think about the comment about people are just addicted to the hobby, and we've seen a couple of videos recently about people saying, having this addiction to buying cards. If there's nothing from Topps/Fanatics, and we don't know when it's coming out, does that push people? Where does that push people towards vintage? Does it push them towards just working on projects they started and kind of shelved? Who knows? I don't know.
The crappier or less desired sets, right? Maybe that's why. If you don't know when you're going to get your next fix, then
you better go buy that plaster of Ginter that's been there for 6 months collecting dust.
Yeah. Let's see what else.
I don't want to see the Cowboys do well in the playoffs if that's in the spirit of the question as well. You only get one, Mike. What do you want, the Cowboys or the Horned Frogs? Pick one.
I'd pick the Horned Frogs.
Okay, good. I hope it happens.
But this is going to be Titletown this year. We got Horned Frogs National Championship, Cowboys Super Bowl, Rangers World Series Championship. I mean, this is going to be Titletown by the end of 2023.
Good luck.
It's
man.
And it starts next Monday.
Titletown, man. Definitely Titletown.
Yeah. Okay. Chris just turned the lights on in his house. That's awesome.
I don't know. My camera on my laptop is not. Oh, I need to get a real camera.
Why start now, man?
Yeah,
your fans don't expect that of you.
Need a single other. Whammy Douglas was blind in one eye. I did not know that.
Well, Rich would know. Rich would know. He interviewed him live on
probably
in the 50s.
Yeah, he was not rated as a good pitcher or as a good hitting pitcher, but Whammy was proud of the home run he hit last year in 1958. So he could still jack a pitch if he needed to.
Yeah, Topps Cosmic Chrome. Talk about good grief. Man. Can we stop with Topps Chrome Black, Topps Chrome everything? Let's make it rainbow.
What did they get first, basketball or football, or did they get them both at the same time?
I think it's both at the same time. No.
So in theory, it would be
it might be right.
It would be football, right? Football would come out first, I guess, because the season starts earlier. And we know it sounds like Panini's off the Christmas list of Topps, right? That's not going to happen now.
Probably not. If it was going to happen, it would have happened by now.
Yeah, it's tough though with the financial landscape, interest rates doubling and stuff like that. So or tripling, whatever it is, even though they just raised a boatload more money, right?
Even though they just did, yeah.
But
not exactly sure.
Not card money though, that's Fanatics money.
They've apparently have all the money in the world.
But won't cards still be a relatively small percentage of their overall business?
Oh, for sure.
Oh, yeah.
We think it's the most important thing in the world, and for many of us it is, but when Topps was the king, right, in the 50s and 60s, it sure as heck wasn't their
no, this was a vehicle to sell gum.
Yeah.
So
it's important to us, and it's not important to anybody else. But we can think that we could still dream that we're big in the world, like with the whole 1099 thing. Like they don't. It's not the they think the IRS is coming after hobbyists. They're coming after everybody who doesn't who sells anything on eBay.
Oh yeah,
and PayPal and whatnot. So
I wonder where the sports card hobby ranks. If you were to list 20 hobbies, I mean, it's got to be like way down there.
Think so?
I don't know. I mean,
how would you measure that though? And as
Yeah.
far as number of people or amount of money?
well,
So you go to, does a Mecum or a Barrett Jackson auction bring in more than Heritage and Golden and stuff like that in a year?
I was just thinking, like, I've gone to a couple Comic Cons before, and
Mm-hmm.
way more people at those things than
Yeah,
there are
that's
at
true.
a baseball card show. And I mean, John, you do events all over the country.
Yeah.
Where do you see the most people?
Well, you could do we like to say that, like, again, we're hobby people, and you do Chicago where it's the epicenter of the absolute world when the Nationals there. But what does that draw? How many people does the National draw over a weekend? 40,000?
40 to
75,000.
50, but
All right. So the Chicago Auto Show will draw 1 million people in the dead of winter to downtown. So, that's a pretty big show, and that's just one of them. The LA Auto Show, the New York Auto Show, they'll draw well into the six figures, the high six figures. So people love their
And
cars. SEMA's a big show, which is this secondary manufacturer of car parts and stuff like that in Vegas. That's a massive show. Comic-Con is also tied into so many other things, right? It's tied into television and film franchises and stuff like that, which I don't know if trading cards are a big part of that, but the merchandise sure is, right? The shirts and the posters and all that stuff. So it's kind of a little bit of a different breed. We are, other than a few dalliances with baseballs or signed pictures, we're like we love our little pieces of cardboard, and that's it. Comic-Con, they go in a bunch of different directions.
Do you think the sports memorabilia world is bigger than the card world?
it's a subset of it.
Yeah,
I think it's bigger.
Yeah, I mean it's we're all trained to think of the Wagner and the Mantle and stuff like that, but bats and balls are going for six figures every day, right? Like bats and balls that aren't Albert Pujols' 700th or Aaron Judge's 62nd. They're balls that have been out there for 80, 100 years, stuff like that. So,
I mean, go into any lawyer's, doctor's office, and they've got probably a piece of sports memorabilia somewhere in there. You know, a signed football, a helmet, even a picture of a Tiger Woods, or you name it, right?
Yeah. Well, good thing is we're eradicating all that by chopping them up into little bits and putting them into trading cards, because that's where Jackie Robinson's uniform should go, right? Into some packs that'll never be opened, ever.
Yeah.
Forever sealed in Mylar.
Our coins.
But I think you're absolutely right. Coin. I don't know. It's funny is because I'm so myopic when it comes to other hobbies. Coins used to be a pretty big deal. That's for sure, right?
I would argue the comic world is bigger than the sports card world, with all the movies and
franchises there. Yeah, for sure. It's a good point.
And these Comic Cons, they draw. I mean, what they draw put like the National to shame. Yeah. And not only that, they charge a lot more for tickets to get into a lot of these things. I mean,
it's ridiculous.
Daily admission to the National is what? $25.
$19 if you buy it online.
19 if you buy it online.
Your average Comic Con's $80 to $100.
$80 to $100 for one day. So
I used to do the BlizzCon show. I did it like 3 or 4 years in a row in Anaheim for Blizzard Entertainment, right? And the live gate was relatively small. It was probably 30,000 people total in Anaheim, and each room was its own franchise. World of Warcraft, whatever the various ones are. And I tried to do the math in my head. How does this work? They're spending way more money than what the live gate is. Well, when they're beaming it to Korea and Japan and China and making $100 a pop on the live stream to millions of people, that's where the money is. So something like gaming, it's not a sport, folks. I don't care if you guys dress in the same uniforms, but I look at that as a hobby, and that dwarfs what we do by far.
Who do you know who's going to have? There's two card sets I want to see. I want to see the American Cornhole League, and I want to see some pickleball cards coming out. When are those coming out?
Well, there's disc golf cards, right? Everybody's got their disc
Didn't
card.
Topps make like a cornhole set a couple of years ago?
Maybe.
I think they did.
They got in on the ground floor, is what you're saying.
Yeah.
Huh? They signed all those people early.
I think so.
Wanted to ask you about the NIL. What's the verdict on that after a year? Has it been? Have we done a full year of NILs? Has all hell broken loose? Is college sports the way we want it to be right now?
Well,
the portal, people entering
very
the portal.
different. I mean, there were, I think when the portal opened this year, 1,600 players entered the portal.
Just football, Mike?
Just football. Yeah. 1,600. That's a lot of complete teams. I mean,
yeah.
I think they're all up for auction, so to speak, and highest bidder wins. You can go from, 2 and 12 to, not that TCU built their team that way. In fact, they didn't, but I can see some, look at what Deion Sanders might, I'm not joking. Like, if he gets the right amount of money, you're going to see a lot of guys go into Colorado, but he could build a team very quickly if he had enough money behind it, because the players won't necessarily care about playing for Deion Sanders. They'll just go where the money is.
Yeah, that's another, what's the sweet spot there? Because for years coaches could leave whenever they wanted to, but the players, that were stuck with a new coach or a new regime, and thankfully that's changed. But the whole portal thing is so chaotic.
Well, think about like Bryce Young right now, right? You say, okay, he could stay another year and play. He has one more year of eligibility, so he could theoretically play another year. If you said, all right, Bryce, we're going to give you $4 million to stay next year, why wouldn't you take that and take some graduate classes and have a much easier life than going to the NFL?
Right.
Where you'll get maybe a bigger, you'll get a nice contract, but how much money do these people really need? Like, I'm thinking at the end of the day, I guess that's always the case, but I don't know.
Well, when you're getting money for, views and clicks and stuff like that, I mean, we've developed a culture where just being famous is enough. You don't have to be good, right? Bosworth was the most famous football player in the league when he came out, and didn't last very long, but yeah, but it's, that's what we've developed. We've developed no substance. And I used to be one of those people that say, well, college kids are getting an education, and I'm fully aware how much an education costs. But when you watch these football games this past weekend, Ohio State and Georgia and Michigan and TCU, it's amazing the level that these kids compete on. And then you have to think they're just kids. I've got a 20-year-old over there working on Call of Duty right now, and it's like those kids don't necessarily have that luxury. They're going to school and they're having to learn their playbook, and then they're having to practice, and it's absolutely incredible what they do. So
we could just bring back the reserve clause.
We do that after we get Kurt Flood in the Hall of Fame.
Yeah. I think there might be a couple of antitrust actions if that happens.
But I don't like the, players changing. Forget college. I mean, just in the pros, right? You get all these players, and it's been this way for 20 plus years. This isn't new, but it does feel like the velocity has increased in terms of turnover. Guys will sign a couple-year contracts. I mean, look at Verlander, for example, Mets this year, Astros the last few years,
Isn't that guy lucky enough? Can we stop? You have to have a certain amount of luck, and then you just should be given no more. I don't care if you can throw a fastball. One man should not have that much joy in his life.
well, he gets to go home to Kate Upton every night.
That's what I'm saying, man.
Right.
Pick one. You want to be a good baseball player, be a good baseball player. Don't tick the guys off around the neighborhood as well. Chris and I follow soccer. We're unabashed soccer fans. The stuff that we see in Europe would flip out the average American sports fan, where you can negotiate a contract with another team while you're still playing with one team. A manager can do that. A player can do that. Players aren't traded; they're sold. It's
players can just hand in a transfer request whenever they want.
I'm done. Yeah, I'm done.
I don't want to play here. Sell me.
Yeah, sell me.
Sell me to this team.
yeah. It's I'm happy the players can do whatever they want, because the owners, there are no struggling franchises right now. I think the Phoenix Coyotes, if that's still a thing, they're playing in like a 5,000 seat arena for a couple of years. So there's no owner that is suffering right now through anything. If they can get through COVID, right, then they're doing fine. So the players should get whatever they want. That doesn't mean they should have 2,000 rookie cards, but they should get whatever they want.
Mullet Arena.
Is that what it is? Is that one of the universities?
Tempe. Yeah, it's the ASU campus.
That's
the
their
guy
hockey
who,
arena.
The guy who put the money for it is named Mullet. For a hockey arena.
Well, some of us talk about being mullet people, but people like me lived it, Chris. All right, you can call yourself whatever you want until you walk
on
to the
top,
mall.
Party in the back.
Yeah,
I had a mullet as well.
That I gotta see. Did you have a mullet in your passport picture for 10 years like I had to have one?
No.
Yeah, that's embarrassing.
John, before we go, I know you did you get any cards today in the mail?
Yeah, I have about half the cards there. I have I'm going to go fill my bathtub up with 1950s football cards and baseball cards.
Swim in them like Don West used to do.
Yeah. I don't know what you guys see.
I'm swimming in cards.
Yeah.
Did you not watch him, John?
I didn't watch him. Thankfully, one of the I was out seeing a million faces and rocking them all back then in the early 90s. I was a roadie, so I didn't have time for that. But I was collecting, but I wasn't collecting via the home shopping channel or whatever it was. Wasn't my thing, man.
It was.
Plus, we didn't have cable TV, so that had something to do with it.
I never ordered a single thing off of Home Shopping Network, but I would watch it every time they were on hawking cards just to see what they were doing. And I remember when they came out with the Donruss Dominators, they were a Home Shopping exclusive or whatever.
Yep.
And there were you could get an autographed one, and I wish I could. There's probably a clip somewhere of them selling these cards, and Nolan Ryan autographs, and I'm trying to think of other players that had signed versions of
Mattingly, Molitor, and Juan Gonzalez, I think, were the autographs.
Juan
I think.
Juan Gonzalez for sure had one, because I used to have one in my Juan Gonzalez collecting days. But it was awesome. By the way, do you know what you found one of these today? You know what those are?
Is that the Hires thing?
Yeah.
Yeah, I read that. I read that on air today. It's awesome, isn't it?
This would be part of the card, and the card would be on top, and you would just
you had to glue your dime to the back to that bottle cap back there.
Yeah.
It says glue your dime there and send that and 2 bottle caps in, and you get a card and a book on how to be a baseball aficionado. Mike Piazza, by the way, Andrew knows this. Norristown, Phoenixville, Pennsylvania. That's what happens when your dad
second round draft pick.
build build a batting cage in your house, and your godfather is Tommy Lasorda. So, yeah,
And you two can be drafted.
yeah.
And then maybe make the Hall of Fame.
Hall of Fame. Who's getting into the Pro Football Hall of Fame? We find that out this month, don't we?
It was supposed to be today, and they delayed
because
of the incident.
Right.
They delayed the announcement of who are the finalists. So we don't even know the finalists yet.
So the finalist, and then the announcement is when? Around the Super Bowl or something? Or
yeah, usually I think. What about Baseball Hall of Fame? Who's getting in this year? Anyone?
They're
definitely not on the first ballot this year.
There's some people bucking though,
Slim
man.
pickings.
I try to call out on Twitter the heroes and the cowards when new ballots are posted, and there's a lot of people. There's a lot of people voting for A-Rod and Manny and stuff like that. It's good to see. I'm not saying it's going to happen, but not everybody is. And then there's the guy that doesn't, the anonymous jerk off, excuse my language, that doesn't vote for anybody, right?
So I'm looking at the Mr. Tibbs spreadsheet, and right now 117 ballots have been cast. If it ended today, 2 players would get in, Roland and Helton.
Mm-hmm.
There have been 3 blank ballots,
right.
4 ballots with only 1 player selected. And one of those, the only guy he selected was Jimmy Rollins. Not that I have anything wrong with Rollins, but he's not the best player on that ballot that you would only vote for him. One of them, their only vote was for Carlos Beltran. I mean, I don't know if these guys just don't take it.
Yeah.
Plenty of them take it seriously, no doubt. But a lot of this just 5 2-player ballots. And remember, you can vote for 10. So 6 3-player ballots, 9 4-player ballots, 18 5-player ballots. Now, honestly, looking at the ballot, I picked 5 guys that I would vote for. So it wasn't like I had 10 guys. But it's just a weird year with all the Bonds, Clemens, Schilling, the ballot's been
they're off.
Yeah, cleaned up a little bit. And Roland will probably get in, would be my guess. Helton has a shot. Billy Wagner's at 70% right now.
I saw Billy Wagner's getting a lot of votes. Do you think it's time to revamp the way it's done? I mean, it seems kind of antiquated that we're in the digital age. I think one way to combat this is that you're not guaranteed a vote for the rest of your life or whatever it is, right? Once you're eligible, it should be maybe we rotate. We have however many writers there are, and maybe only 100 vote a year. Okay, that way, if you only vote every 3 or 4 years, you're not going to turn in a 0 ballot, or you're not going to turn in a 0 ballot every year. Might be time to rethink that because certainly in the new age of baseball with the 1 inch bigger bases, we have to really adapt with those times and what that's going to bring, all the extra stolen bases that's going to bring us. So might be time to rethink that, baseball, whoever's doing that. That's the Hall of Fame that does that, right? It's not MLB, it's the Hall of Fame, right?
Right.
I think it's time.
Yeah.
I think it's time to
I would love to see some type of fan ballot incorporated into it, but
that's homerism, though, right?
Yeah, there's so much trouble with that.
How does football do it?
I think there's like 24 writers that are part of the committee, and then they kind of like narrow it down from. I think they narrow it down to like 15, and then they pick 5 from those 15.
Well, if only we could look up everything we ever wanted to know.
Yes.
And hockey and basketball and cornhole. How does cornhole do it?
Can't say that I know.
All right.
All right, here we go. Who votes? The committee consists of 1 media representative from each pro football city. with 2 from New York and 2 from Los Angeles. And then
here's a question. I'm going to send you down a rabbit hole. Did Los Angeles have 2 votes 10 years ago, or did they have 0 votes 10 years ago?
Good question.
When they didn't have a team, right?
Yeah, you wouldn't think that they had anyone.
I just think there's not any kind of controversy or this much controversy in any other sport. Why is that? I mean, we're more passionate about baseball for sure, but it doesn't need to be this difficult. And you're making minor stars out of these baseball writers.
Here's the list of everyone that has a Pro Football Hall of Fame ballot.
Yeah, it does. See right there, it says Chargers and it says Rams. So you're tied to a team per se, which is wonderful.
Yeah, but they're from Sports Illustrated. They're not from the LA Times or anything.
Great. And there's Fox Sports. Wait a second. Was there Barstool there? That's embarrassing. Yeah, but it's
Outkick the coverage.
Yeah, that's
Paul Domowitch. I guess he took over for Dittinger. I think.
But he's legit, man.
Yeah.
Look at the Philly guy. It's
Domowitch.
Yeah,
he's legit.
He's legit.
He was writing for
Dungy has a vote.
He used to be the Philly Daily. I think this is what they're working on now because the Domowitch used to work for the either Inky or the Daily News. I forget which one, but he was a legit sports writer for a newspaper. But everything's changed because papers aren't paying anybody anymore, I assume. At large. So you have at large writers.
At large Hall of Famers. The Ringer has one.
Oh, look at Tony Dungy, Dan Fouts,
Peter King,
James Lofton's in there.
Sal Pal.
Sal Pal's legit, right?
Yeah.
Who's Sal Pal's not legit. He's a Philly guy. So
he's actually all right. Central Jersey now.
Who's the Cowboys representative on that?
Hopefully it's Skip Bayless.
Rick Goslin of the Talk of Fame Network. Yeah, that's not man.
He used to be a writer. Was he a morning news writer?
He was.
Yeah.
He was.
See, nobody associates with papers anymore because papers are dead.
Interesting.
I mean,
we've covered a lot of things.
And considering that really didn't want to do this hour because of what happened last night, but we pulled through it. So,
this kid, hopefully this kid is going to be all right. And, we're all pulling for him. And all those players, you could tell how much it means to those players, how close they are. I'm not sure if something like this happened to me at work that my colleagues would be as broken up as those guys were on the field last night. So,
if I had a heart attack, I don't think they're stopping the New York Stock Exchange tomorrow because I'm a financial planner. I don't think that's happening.
No. Well, anyway, you guys doing anything this week? Plug any shows?
Yeah, I think there's a show coming up Thursday.
There is a show coming up Thursday called Hobby Think Tank. Debut episode, pilot episode comes out tomorrow night on Bench Clear Media.
Or Thursday.
Or it's Thursday. Did I say tomorrow?
Yeah.
Thursday. And John and I will be part of that crew. There's 4 of us that are going to be discussing all types of hobby topics and hopefully taking a little bit different angle than maybe you've heard before. So.
And I don't normally plug my shows, but I'm in the middle of my 70 through 79 episodes right now, and I've gathered some collectors that mean a lot to me. I really admire what they do and how they do it. So we're dissecting a set one at a time, and it's the whoever I picked, it's their choice. So we had Cooter Lev on this week doing the 71 Top Super. Recorded one today and another one in a couple of days. So it's going to be awesome. Enjoy the 70s is what I say.
All right, cool. Let's see. We got
When's spring training open
on
for
Saturday.
MLS?
Actually, it's this week, believe it or not.
They do it here or they go down south? They go
I think they're going to
overseas?
start up here, but then in a couple of, like in February, they go down to Clearwater. The Union actually train across the street from the Phillies
Jack Russell
Stadium. So,
well, good luck to all the MSL
Yep.
fans out there. Hopefully you
Yep.
have a safe 2023 season.
this Saturday on Hobby Hotline, it's going to be John Newman, Jim Beckett, and Victor Roman.
Nice.
So it's always good when the good doctor's in. So
Yep.
Anyway, first show of 2023. We got through it, and keep on rocking in the free world, folks. See you later.